What is self-awareness and what can we do about it? If you like this video, definitely click like. Think about the impact that you have when you're self-aware. Most of our awareness patterns occur before the age of 2, before we even know that we've been programmed. Our brain is in such a acceptance state before the age of 2 that whatever is modeled around us, we just decide to do it. Part of the reason is because we are totally dependent on our parents or caretakers for life. And the other part is we don't know how to work in this world, so we just start modeling whatever we see without question. The only issue is that as we grow up and become adults, some of these patterns do not serve us. For example, let's say someone was modeled to always be a people pleaser. The role models in their life never spoke up. How many people do we know that don't speak up? They get taken advantage of. They're afraid to complain. Something goes wrong, they won't even tell anybody. And so typical process would be, well, okay, now tell that person to start doing micro actions. For example, standing up to some hotel staff or standing up to someone and say, I don't like that, or saying no on the telephone. Well, they can't do that because they have been so conditioned, and there's so much fear of not being liked, not being accepted. When we go into that brain mode where we have so much anxiety, our amygdala gets hijacked. So we go into this amygdala hijacking stage. We can't ask for what we want if that's how we've been conditioned. And we're so afraid of having people not like us, or we've been taught to be so afraid of having people not like us that we won't go against what the group wants or speak up and stand up and say what our real opinion is. Being able to go and stand up in a group or tell people what we really think, that takes quite a bit of self-awareness. So how do we get the self-awareness when we've been programmed between the ages of 2 and 7? We've accepted all these behaviors and we don't even know what they are. One easy way is to make videos of ourselves, because when you watch videos of yourself, you realize what some of your micro behaviors are. I remember when I first started making videos on the internet over 10 years ago, and I would watch the way I moved my hands or the way I spoke or my eye contact or even just my facial expressions. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I do that. So I became more conscious about repeat words and facial expressions. But when we're in our personal relationships, we can't always be videoing ourselves and getting that kind of feedback. So we can solicit feedback from people. It's always great to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I rank in standing up for myself? Some people think standing up for themselves automatically goes into anger and rage. They don't know how to disagree and still be level emotionally without damaging the relationship whatsoever. So there are different ways that we can practice these behaviors and just be aware of them. But the easiest way, and my favorites, are to get to the root cause of the behavior, because most of these behaviors are run by a fear. And when we can identify the fear and get rid of that fear, then it's kind of like walking around with balls and chains on your ankle. But once we cut off the balls and chains, we can run a lot faster just by identifying the fear that is controlling that behavior. For example, let's go back to not being able to speak up, not being able to go against what the group wants. And this is, a pretty big issue, especially with teenagers. We always tell them, hey, just because your friends want to do something, think it through, stand up, don't go with the group. But then as adults, what do? We'll still do that same behavior. We can recognize it in a teenager, but we don't necessarily recognize it in ourselves. So if we want someone to do that, then what is the underlying fear? Is it that I will not be loved and accepted as I am? Is it that when I used to express an opinion that was not the opinion of my family, they got angry and they did not want to hear it? So are we trying to avoid the pain of not being accepted? Figure out the fear that is driving that decision. And once we get rid of the fear, whether you use tapping or whether we use some other type of visualization, That would be the easiest way. And the more fears we can get rid of, the more freedom we're going to have. It's really not that hard of a life compared to the amount of traumas we carry around ourselves and in our heart. So let's go ahead and enjoy life and live life to the fullest. And for that, we want to get rid of our traumas. How I started doing it is I started investing in myself. I started reading books. I started going to workshops. Anytime the speaker recommended a book at a workshop, I would go and I would purchase that book. And this is back, before when I had to actually go and drive to the bookstore and buy the book and find the book and then bring it and read it. I would usually read it on the train to and from work. But I started investing in myself because I could see the benefits of having that growth and having that awareness. And as I developed the awareness of what kind of fears I had and what I could do to improve myself or just improve my self-acceptance, the way that I came across was so much better, and it started getting me promotions at work. And I got several promotions within a really short period of time. I think I got 6 within 2 years. Just because all of a sudden I was happier, I was accepting myself more, and I had more confidence in the way I spoke and the way I did my work. So having that self-awareness is gold. It is just total liquid gold to be able to see our own behaviors, take a step back and say, wow, do I really act like that? Do I really speak like that? Did I actually get angry over this situation, or did I back down when I had no intention of doing it? Just figure out what is really driving us. And once at least we know our own drivers, then we can control our drivers and we're driving ourselves. And that makes such a huge difference on the success level we'll have. People have success, they have things, they have materialistic success, but very few people have that component of happiness and acceptance and feeling alive and well in their own skin and not trying to put up a show and put up a facade and have to buy friendships. So few people have that. So we want the whole package, right? We want the spiritual success and the mental success and the emotional success along with all the material success. And we want to keep all our relationships and have them flourish as we move up. And in order to do that, we need the self-awareness to see that where are we contributing to our own problems so that we can make the changes that we need to really change our lives. So to help you get started, I have a free self-love guide. And that will help you get started to maybe become more aware of some of the patterns that you have that may be holding you back. So just scan the QR code and go ahead and download the self-love guide and get started on this journey of investing in yourself and realizing how awesome you are. Maybe you have a lot of gifts and you're just covering them up with fear and doubt, and it's time to remove that fear and doubt so the real you can shine through. Thanks so much for watching this video. This is Rina Makhdoom. Go ahead and click like and click subscribe if you want to know when my next video is coming.